Crunch time for the Toffees, who have 6 games to save their Premier League status. So relegation will mean that Everton will be in the second tier of English football for the first time since 1954. Here's their final 6. This is their run-in. Chelsea at home next. Leicester away. Watford away. Brentford at home. Crystal Palace at home. And then Arsenal is the final game of the season, and that is at the Emirates. What do you think? How are you feeling about this, Ali?
Do you know what I think, Laura? I think we'll be better placed to comment on it after, believe it or not, Burnley's next 2 games.
What do you think?
I think Burnley go to Watford, and are they at home to Villa or somebody? There's the games on current form. You think Burnley would have a good chance to pick up points. So I think the worrying thing from Everton's point of view, they're certainly right in the mix to go down, and I think the worrying thing, I think the teams round about them, particularly Burnley, the one they'll be looking at, they could pick up points the next couple of games.
This is it. So you're right, Watford next for Burnley, and then Burnley at home to Aston Villa.
Villa, yeah.
And at home they're almost a different kettle of fish, aren't they?
Of course they are. I mean, a couple of clean sheets. They won 2-0, and obviously a great result beating Wolves there.
And Southampton the game before as well.
Yeah, 2-0, and the draw down at West Ham, wasn't it? So the resurgence in form there is remarkable, and that'll be as big a concern to Everton as anything. So the next couple of games you'll have a far better idea. But I'm looking at, Chelsea at home, Leicester away for Everton, dear me. Only thing I would say was, I know it's a crazy thing to say, but I was actually quite impressed with the way they played at the weekend. And I know that's coming, the statistics will tell you they only had 18% percentage and all that stuff. However, I just thought the way they went about their business, I was impressed with them.
Do you think that's what they've got to do now? Or is it only against the big top teams that they do
They've got to have that organisation, that spirit, and those concentration levels. And obviously they've got to be a bit more clinical, which you think they would be against teams not of the same quality as Liverpool.
How do you think they've got themselves in this position?
Their own fault. Just not been good enough. It's as simple as you can look around and look for reasons or excuses, but the fact of the matter is they've just not been good enough, Laura. It's as simple as, and they've got the only people that can get themselves out are the players.
It's interesting as well to think about if they do go down, how many of those players will be sticking around and how many of those players will be poached by Premier League sides.
That would be interesting. I don't know, but off the top of my head, I just feel that they would probably hang around and try and get back up immediately. It would just be a disaster. You think of the money that Everton have spent, Laura. They'll be one of the top spenders probably.
Yeah, they are.
It's incredible. So therefore, you're asking the reasons. One of the reasons has got to be poor recruitment. Because it isn't as if they've not been backed financially, because they certainly have. But just the recruitment's kind of let them down. But there's a lot of pluses. I thought Anthony Gordon at the weekend was fabulous. I really did. They've got good players. Calvert-Lewin can't get fit, obviously, at this moment in time. Richarlison's a good player. I know he was upsetting one or two of the Liverpool fans at the weekend. However, he's a good player. They've got good players, but they are not in a false position. They are where they are because that's where they deserve to be.
Do you want me to give you an idea of the spending at Everton? So this is since the summer of 2016. Everton has spent 639 million.
Wow.
They did this comparison at the weekend, so it can give you an idea of against another team who spent. It was Liverpool. It was a Merseyside derby they did this in, of course. So 639 million for Everton, and for Liverpool 569. And then when you look at money received, Everton have received half of the amount they've spent, so 322 million. And of course, Liverpool have received a lot more than that, with their selling 439 million. So the net spend for Liverpool, 157 million, versus Everton's net spend of 317 million. It's the signings really that you look at that they think maybe you spent a bit too much money on. I look at Alex Iwobi being the Arsenal fan as well, thinking we got near 40 million for him, and thinking, wow,
that's a Pilsman.
Yeah, absolutely. There's other big signings that they've made potentially that haven't really worked out. Let's ask someone in the know. Big Sam is on the line, a former Everton boss. Hello, Sam. Can you hear us?
Morning, Sam. How are you this morning?
Good morning. How are we?
Good morning. We're
well,
right.
Sam. Is this?
I'm
looking at the game at the weekend, mate. Can you believe that we are talking very, very seriously about Everton going down this year, sir?
No, I can't believe it, Ali. I don't think anybody can. I think that, of course, the years have rolled by since I were there, and unfortunately, it seems to have got worse, not got better. And I think that constant change of managers, and of course, in the end, I suppose players are the ultimate problem for not delivering on the pitch as well as everybody expected with the money that's been spent on them. I think that it's in a real position now where you hope the fear doesn't take over and it causes Everton to go down, because when they're in this position, irrespective of how good a player they might be, if the fear takes over and gets to you, particularly if players haven't been in that position before, or even in fact sometimes the manager, you can crack under that pressure. And I think that it's massive the next 6 games or so to try and get out of trouble. And when they play their game in hand, that'll be a big message on what they do when they get the game in hand, because it will take them past Burnley again and give them a little bit of breathing space, which may be enough.
Sam, what in your opinion are the major things that have gone wrong at Goodison this year? Is it simple to say the recruitment?
Well, I think that when you look how many managers have been to such a great club and been in charge of such a great club, but haven't lasted as long as a season and a half, since Ronald Koeman and then myself, and from there on, every manager's not been there really long enough to establish himself. And I think that every manager's had a struggle because he's not got the right results, and there can be many different factors for that. And of course, deep down inside, from Everton's point of view, you can't really blame Farhad because he's found the money. But I suppose that everybody has to take a bit of blame, you as the manager when you're there at the time. But more importantly, I think it has to be, the players that have come in, and players that needed to deliver haven't quite delivered as much as they should have done. And when you see where they are at the moment, which is unexpected, I think, particularly this year when Rafa took over, they now find themselves in this position. It's a desperate situation for them, and I think if they survive, they've really got to try and go deep into trying to get it right from there on.
Sam, what is it that you do when you go into a club and in the times that you've managed to rescue clubs who are in these positions, what is the first thing that you have to do?
Instill confidence, Laura. I think that make life a little easier, irrespective of when everybody on the outside says the millions that they spend and they, do they really care? Yes, of course they do. But the lack of confidence is the real problem. And I think to give them the guidelines to try and get back on track and really find and assess the situation. And most of the time, in fact, all of the time when I've done it, it boils down to one thing: conceding too many goals. So then you start with building the confidence, and then you start with stopping the goals going in, and then hopefully you've got enough talent to start scoring goals, whether that be in open play or via open play and set plays. And then you build the confidence that way by getting results. Results is the ultimate confidence builder. And I think that then shows the player that they are capable of much more, and then they start enjoying life that little bit more, and everybody enjoys life that bit more. Results get better and better. And it's not an easy job, because you don't have a lot of time when you're going in mid-season, when the season started. So you have to hit the ground running. And I think that having done that for quite a while now, that's a particular skill that you have to have in your armour. You have to understand the situation. And you're the one that's just coming to... They're looking to you to guide them to get them out of trouble. And you've got to be very good with you and your staff to to be able to deliver that.
Yeah, I was going to ask about the pressures of the manager to be in that situation, because I suppose for you, not the word easy is not the word I'm looking for, but perhaps it got, because you understood it, because you've been in that situation so many times before, you had all that experience to lean on. How difficult and how much pressure will Frank feel at this time?
Oh, massive. You've got to have a great staff as well now, because you can get bogged down with the pressure, and you need to stay calm within and in your exterior, and show that you're guiding the team in the right way, even though it's a bit like the old duck in the pond, isn't it? While you're looking calm on the outside, below the water, your legs are going 10 to the dozen, but you can't show that. So you've got to be guiding the team and take a lot of time to process that with your staff on who's the best player to play, what is the best system against this team, who is available. Go to the medical staff and say, if we're having too many injuries, why are we having too many injuries? Get these players fit. I don't care how long, what it takes, get them fit. If it takes keeping them all day at the football club, keep them all day, and make sure they get back in the squad. The bigger the squad, the better chance you've got. And then, the players available for selection. You get certain players who are not available for selection, who are the key, or some of the key players, then it builds the pressure and adds the pressure on you, adds the pressure on the team. And ultimately you could miss out by not being or not able to have the best players available to you, particularly at this stage of the season when time's running out.
Yeah. Okay, Sam, thank you. Thanks for your time this morning.
Have a good day, Sam.
All the best.
Take care.
Pleasure.
Cheers now.
Big Sam Allardyce there, former Everton manager.
talkSPORT Breakfast with Laura Woods. Monday to Wednesday mornings 6 till 10. On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.